Hello, GAP Math students. This video is for percents, ratios, and proportions, objectives 11 through 13. So make sure you get that packet out. If you don't have it, hit pause. We'll grab the packet, and then you want to turn until you get to the pages that start with objectives 11 through 13. Okay. Objectives 11 through 13, the math that we're going to do isn't anything new, except it's going to be word problems. So it's going to be using, going back a few pages here, these things. So either the percent equation forms, so we're going to be looking for part, whole, or percent, or you'll be able to use the percent formula for these. Okay, so this was what we did last time, and a bunch of examples. And if you're watching this video, hopefully you've taken the test on that, either got it down or understand what you did wrong. And now we're going to be doing the exact same thing, but now they're with word problems. Now this is more real life stuff, what you would use. But when you're doing these problems, the first thing you need to do is figure out, are you looking for a part? Are you looking for a whole? Or are you looking for a percent? Okay, so that's the main stuff you need to be looking for when you read this. And a lot of them are pretty straightforward, but there are a couple tricky ones, so we'll go through those. And if you find anything else when you're practicing these, let me know, and I can either just help you individually, or I can make a, add a new video with some more examples. So let's get started. There's really no new notes. It was what I just showed you a little bit ago, and I'll copy those down every now and then. So let's start with 61. It says at a university, 77% of the students are undergraduate. If there are 8,600 students, how many of them are undergraduate? So sometimes people can just look at this and understand and say, oh, it's 77% of this. These are all the students. Undergraduates are part of the students. And that's what we're looking for, is the undergraduates, and that's part of the students. So we are looking for the part. Okay. Now, some other people need to write this in a different way to make sense for them. So they might rewrite it 77% of the students, and the students are 8,600. And they would say is what? Okay, so if that makes it easier, if you think you can rewrite it like that, that's fine. And then you'd have a percent after the word of is 8,600, and you're looking for what? So whatever way makes most sense to you. So then if you're looking for a part, we had two ways we could do that. So the percent equation form that we did, the part equals the percent as a decimal times the whole. So this would equal the percent as a decimal. You got to move it twice. So 0.77 times the 8,600. So you take your calculator, 0.77 times 8,600, and you get 6,622. Okay, so right there. The other way of doing it, remember, is you set up this, the percent formula, and remember you set it up like this every time, no matter what you're looking for, part, percent, or whole. And if we know, and so again, I'll just copy this at the top just so we know what the items involved here. Remember, the part goes up here, the whole goes here, the percent goes here. So for this problem, we know the percent is 77. And the only other part you need to figure out is, remember, which one is the whole, which one's a part. 8,600 is the whole. That's all the students. And we're looking for the part of them that are undergraduates. Okay, so remember, to solve this, you take the diagonal with two numbers and you multiply those. So we would take 8,600 times 77, and that would, and then you divide by the other numbers. So this would be, when you multiply those, it's 662,200. Divide by 100, which is the third number, and you get that same answer that we had. So I'll probably do all these both ways because some people use different methods. Okay, but the start of the problem is the same. You got to figure out what you're looking for. Okay. 62 says a fruit drink company tested some new flavors. Of the people who participated in the taste test, 22% liked new citrus flavors. If 44 people liked the citrus flavor, how many people participated in the taste test? So one key sentence here, this is the key sentence, says, of the people who participated in the taste test, 22% liked the new citrus flavor. Okay, so we know we have the percent, so we're either going to be looking for a part or a whole. Okay, so it says, of the people who participated in the taste test, 22% like the citrus flavor. Now we have another number here, 44. So we either need to figure out, is that going to be the people who participated in the taste test or the people that like the new citrus flavor? And then we look for the other thing. So it says if 44 people like the citrus flavor, so that's this. 44. And it says how many people participated in the taste test. The people who participated in the taste test comes after the word of. Okay, so that is going to be our whole. This will be our part. So what we're looking for here is the whole. Okay, so two ways to do this from our notes the other day, so you may have to turn the page. If we're looking for a whole using the percent equation form, that is the part divided by the percent as a decimal. Okay, so the whole will equal, our part is 44. Okay, and our percent is 0.22 because we move it twice, 1, 2. Okay, so take our calculator, 44 divided by 0.22, and that gives us 200. Okay, and now you can ask yourself, does that make sense? If there's 200 people that took the survey, 44 of them could like the citrus flavor, and that makes sense. Okay, this is a case where you're not going to get the part's not going to be bigger than the whole because it's a survey. You can't have more people say yes than you actually asked. Again, if we did it the other way, set this up. Okay, we know the 22 goes here because it's the percent. Okay, and again, we are looking for the whole, which goes on the bottom. That's what we don't know. So 44 goes on the top. You take the diagonal with two numbers, cross multiplies, and multiply that. We get 4,400. Divide by the third number. And again, we get 200. So that's just the other way of doing it. Okay. Again, we're not going to do every problem here, but we're going to find some key ones to do. And 63, I think we'll skip. It's a little easier, so you can try that one later. Let's look at 64. Mr. Mr. Stewart is buying a house. He can spend no more than 29% of his income on monthly house payments. If he earns $4,600 per month, what is the largest monthly house payment he can make? So this is kind of key here. It says 29% of his income. So there's the word of, and it says his income. So we have to figure out if the number they give us is his income, or are we looking for his income? Because after the word of is the whole. Okay, if we don't know this part, that's what we're going to be looking for, is the whole. If we know this part, okay, what number goes here, then we're looking for what we would call the part. So it says if he earns $4,600 per month, that would be his income. It says what's the largest monthly house payment he can make. So he's going to use part of his income to pay for the house. So we're looking for the part. And again, the other way you could write that is you are looking for 29% of 4,600. And that'll be how much you can use for house payment. So again, and we should have this above. Part equals a percent as a decimal times the whole. So 0.29 times 4,600. Let's take your calculator. And you get 1,334. Okay, and again, you can think of it, see if that makes sense. If he earns 4,600, he's going to use 1,334 of that to pay for his monthly house payment. Okay, the other method, we know 29 goes here. 4,600 is the whole amount he makes, and he's going to use part of it to pay. Okay, so again, we take the cross multiple, the diagonal with two numbers. So we take 4,600 times 29, okay, which is 133,400. Divide by the other number, which is 100, and we get the $1,334. Okay. So we've done two where we're looking for a part. That might be all we have to do for that. Let's look at 65. You can tell right away by looking at the choices for a multiple choice that it looks like we're looking for a percent. And it's, if we read the problem, it says that Franklin High School, 195 of the 375 seniors plan to attend a state college after they graduate. What percent? So right there, the question says what percent of the seniors plan to go to state college. So a couple things, you can look at this just reading it. We have a bunch of seniors. Part of that senior class is going to go to state college. So this would be the part. This would be the whole senior class. Okay, otherwise also they write it out pretty straightforward here. After the word of is 375, so that's the whole. Okay, using the percent equation forms, if we want to find the percent as a decimal, we just take the part divided by the whole and then convert it to a percent. So part is 195. So this is kind of like, I kind of just say like a test example. 195 out of 375. So you take 195 divided by 375. You get 0.52. Now you have to convert that to a percent, make it bigger by 2 spots. So it's 52% want to go to state college. Okay, the other method, set this up right away. Percent is what we don't know. That's what we're looking for. The part is 195. The whole is 375. Take the diagonal with two numbers. We multiply that. Divide by the third number. And there's no converting here. We get 52, which is the percent. Okay. So that's a pretty straightforward percentage one. There are a couple percentage ones that get a little tricky. And we'll take a look at, we only got a couple problems left here. 66 is similar to 65, but it's going to be different, and we'll show you how. It says a clothing store manager is comparing weekend and weekday sales. In the last week, the store sold $6,264 worth of merchandise on weekdays, $5,336 worth of merchandise over the weekend. What percent of the merchandise was sold over the weekend? So, first thing, question says what percent? So we are looking for a percent. So that's always the first thing to figure out. Okay. Now we need to figure out part and the whole. Okay. Look at the question. It's looking for how much is sold over the weekend. Okay. And that is part of all the sales. So if sales happen over the weekend is part of everything, over the weekend is the part. Okay. And they give us that. It says $5,336 was sold over the weekend. So this is the part. Now what's maybe confusing here, usually in these problems, we're looking for percent. We figure out that this is the part, and then people often say, oh, this got to be the whole then. Okay, now think of it though. The weekend is part of all their sales. This number doesn't represent all their sales. This is how much was sold on the weekday. So what we have to do, we actually have to figure it out on this one. So we first have to look at all sales is your weekend sales plus your weekday sales. So that's why this one is a little tricky. You have to figure out one of the numbers. They don't give it to us. Okay, so we're going to add these two together. And the total sales is 11,600. It'd be like saying, instead of saying you got 15 out of 20 correct on a test, it would be saying you got 15 correct and 5 incorrect on a test. Well, I didn't tell you how many points there were, but if you had 15 right and 5 wrong, that's 20 points. Okay, so that's the same thing here. We have the weekend sales and the weekday sales, so this is the total. So now, if we want a percent, and again, this is as a decimal, abbreviate, we take the part we're looking for, which is the weekend, and we have to put it over the whole amount or all the sales. So that's the tricky part here. So now we do 5,336 divided by 11,600, and we get 0.4612, 46%. Okay. Very quick version. If you like this method better, we still don't know the percent. Everything else we had to do, we'd still use in this. Okay. Cross multiply with the diagonal as two numbers. Divide by the other number. And you'll get 46. And no converting there is the percent. Okay. Let's see, we don't have many left here. I just want to make sure I cover every type. Number 67, in Wes's class, 56% of the students walk to school. If 14 students in Wes's class walk to school, how many students are in the class? So if we look at this, we're not looking for percent, so we're either looking for part or whole. This is 50%, 56% of the students, so right after the word of the students is the whole, okay? And of those students, there's some that walk to school. So there's some that walk to school, there's some that don't walk to school. So they give us a number 14, okay? 14, we have to figure out, is that all the students or is that a part of the students? So if 14 students in Wes's class walk to school, how many students are in the class? So we're looking for everyone in the class. 14 is part of that class. So 14 is going to be the part, okay? And how many students are in the class as a whole, and that's what we're looking for. So this is our second example of finding a whole. This will be our last one about that. And I think we got 1 or 2 percentage ones left and we're done. So the other way you could say this is, there's a few different ways you could write this, but if you said 14 of the students is 56%. If that helps you, you can write it that way. Okay. So again, we need to find the whole. And we wrote this before. The whole equals the part divided by the percent as a decimal. Abbreviate that. Percent as decimal. I know it's hard to read there, but that's why you're listening to this also. So the part is 14. Percent is a decimal. You move it to the left, make it smaller by 2 spots, is 0.56. So we go 14 divided by 0.56, and we get 25. Okay. Again, you like this method. Eventually, I'll probably stop showing this method, but if you do like this better and it's easier, do this way. 56 is the percent. 14 was the part. We're looking for the whole. Okay, so we take the diagonal with 2 numbers. We multiply that. Divide by the third number. And that's also going to get you 25. Okay. I'm not going to do 68. I'm not going to do 69. I just will give you a hint though. This is like number 65. It's more basic. Okay. Number 70, I'm not going to do this one either, but it is, because I want you to try it, because this is like number 66, which was one that was a little confusing or a little tricky. We had to put 2 things together to get the full amount. Number 70 is going to be similar. They talk about children's shoes, and then they talk about women's and men's shoes, which basically you can think of as non-children's shoes. And then you're going to have to know what the total amount of shoes are to do the problem. And so if you have children's shoes and non-children's shoes, that'll tell you how many total shoes are. Last problem we're going to do is number 72, because it's a little different than the other problems. It says Mr. Malloy sold 189 cat toys. After the fair, he had 36 unsold cat toys, which he took back to the shop. What percent of his cat toys did he sell at the pet fair? So, first thing, the question says, what percent? Okay, so we're looking for percent. Then it says, what percent of his cat toys So after the word of his cat toys, so that's the whole, did he sell? So what he sold is the part. Okay, so now we got to look at these numbers and see what we can fit in here. Okay, because we're looking for percent. And if we use the percent equation, we'll find it as a decimal first, and it's going to equal the part divided by the whole. So what percent of his cat toys? So here's one number here. It says 189 cat toys at a pet fair. So that's all his cat toys, 189. So here, that's the bottom number. Now be careful. This is why I went over this one. This is the tricky part. We want to find the part that he sold. Some people might look and say, oh, here's another number, 36. Let's write that in there. 36 was the unsold toys. So what we need to do first, if there's 189 total, 36 of them were unsold, well, we can figure out how many were sold. We take 189 minus 36. So 189 minus 36 gives you 153 that were sold. That is the part that goes up here. So now we take 153 divided by 189. Okay. I just want to double check here. I think I typed in a number wrong on my calculator. Oh, all right. So let me go back. I read the problem wrong. So this is just a good I'm not going to edit this video and redo and act like I didn't make a mistake. I made a mistake. I read the problem wrong. This part is correct. What we did here, it says what percent, okay, of the cat toys did he sell and not sell. So there could be a problem like this where we have to figure out stuff like that, but that's not what we're asking, and I'll show you the mistake I made. I read the problem wrong, and I thought 189 toys were brought there. It says 189 cat toys were sold. Okay, I didn't read that. I just thought that's how many he brought, but it actually says sold. So that is the part. He sold 189. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. So this ends up being like number 66. Okay, now they didn't tell us what the whole part. He sold 189. He didn't sell 36. So instead of subtracting those, we should have added those. So again, that was if you can either erase, or if you're writing in pen, cross it out. And it's a good lesson. Let's see. I made a mistake. I read it wrong. So now if he sold 189, didn't sell 36, there was 225 total that he brought there. Now we divide those and they get 0.84. Again, convert that 1, 2. It's 84%. Okay, so that's a good lesson to make sure you double check and read properly. If you're doing it this way, we're looking for the percent. The amount, the part that he sold is 189 of the 225 he bought there. Take the diagonal of two numbers, divide by the other number, and you'll get 84. So I think that's all we need to do. Okay, so you got some notes on 2 different pages here. So get these notes down, take pictures of the 2 pages, send them to me. That's your easy points. All you have to do is watch a video, copy it. Okay, then on the first 2 pages, and on this 3rd page, you got some problems that haven't been done yet. Okay, give those a try, check your answers. If you're understanding them, great. The day after this is posted, you can ask for a test, and then you can take that test. So if you have any questions, let me know. Make sure you're sending me pictures of the notes so you can get those easy points.